Let's continue our look at Topps airbrushing jobs within their baseball sets. What do you say we get familiar with the 1961 Topps set again, the base issue containing 587 cards. Does this picture look at all familiar? If you collect the 1960 set, it should. It's the same photo, with Chuck Cottier's cap totally filled in, even the brim. He was part of a 5-player deal in December of 1960 between Milwaukee and Detroit. I'm not sure what they tried to do with the left sleeve patch. The laughing Indian face was replaced, but with what? Jim Donahue didn't make his Major League Baseball debut until April of 1961. Before that, he was a member of the Cardinals and Dodgers minor league systems. Here, a much lighter blue is colored in on the Detroit uniform, and the D on his cap is drawn in. Jim would last just 14 games before a trade to the Angels in June. The San Francisco Giants had pinstripes and blue caps? No, of course they didn't, but the Cubs did. If you recall in my 1959 Airbrush video, The Strange Trade That Never Was, featuring Jim Marshall, he was returned to Chicago before being sent to the Bay Area by himself. Check out the extremely small intertwining letters in Jim's cap. Dick Brown was purchased from the White Sox by Milwaukee in November of 1960, and less than 2 weeks later, part of the 5-player Detroit deal with Mr. Cottier mentioned earlier. Looks like he's still wearing a gray Chicago jersey, and that cap is clearly painted over. Bill Bruton spent 8 years with the Braves before that same multiplayer trade. It's like they're all accounted for here. He led the league in triples twice and stolen bases 3 times while in Milwaukee. The D on cap front here is barely drawn in, yet the Milwaukee jersey, see the red trim, wasn't touched. Carroll Hardy was traded halfway through the 1960 season to the Red Sox. I don't recall Boston having pinstripes on their jerseys, as the jersey of his former Indians team remains untouched. The initial B is fitted awkwardly on his cap. Ray Ripplemeyer was part of the Cincinnati Reds minor league system from 1960 through 1965. His 18 appearances for the Washington Senators in 1962 comprised Rip's big league career. Since he never played one game for the big league Reds, his entire minor league uniform is airbrushed, leaving a different shaped C on cap front. That other Senators team, which would become the Twins, sold the contract of Ray Moore to the White Sox in June of 1960. His ERA was over 5.5, yet stuck with the new franchise until 1963. A plain gray jersey and cap makes me believe this picture was taken during his Chicago days. Bill Kunkel was drafted by the A's in November 1960 in the Rule 5 draft. He never wore number 12 on a major league uniform, and this entire picture looks more like a painting than a photograph. Based on the advertisements on the wall behind him, it most likely is from his minor league days. Earl Robinson played 3 seasons for the Orioles, but not until 1961. He spent all of 1960 in Spokane with the Dodgers organization. Topps cheated and used an image of Earl posing so that his LA uniform doesn't fully show. See the red number peeking out under his arm? And easily brushed over his helmet. Joe Hicks was selected by the Angels in the December 1960 expansion draft, and the same day traded to the Senators for Dean Chance. This image is an easy one to decipher, for you can see by the large number on his uniform sleeve, Joe is pictured here in his White Sox uniform, but his cap has been airbrushed. Another expansion draft player is Ron Muller, who was picked up by the Dodgers from Baltimore following the 1960 campaign. He appeared in 8 games for the Orioles between 1956 and 1958 and spent all of 1960 in the minors. Another classic example of good airbrushing is shown here with a plain cap and jersey. It seems as if Topps didn't care to try on some of these. That is a red hat. Another familiar face to our airbrush series is Don Ferraris. He skipped around a lot during his big league career. Don was purchased by the Phillies from the White Sox in April of 1961 and would be traded again just 1 year later. Actually, the cap here is colored in well, but Topps didn't want to take the chance drawing a fancy Phillies P on front. That also looks like a plain White Sox jersey.